Assalamu alaikum. Let's cook. It doesn't sit well with Mike Tyson that his children don't like black people, his daughters like white men. And it's messed up, but this is very common amongst black celebrities or black people who think they so-called made it and crossed over. They appear to be more raceless. Doesn't sit right with Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson, he sat down. This is not new. He sat down with the rapper T.I. on his podcast and he spoke about it. And listening to them speak is one of the reasons why I usually don't like to hear black celebrities talk about race or race issues.
Why my kids don't like black kids? My kids don't date black kids. Why's that? Why
I don't know, man. They so rich. They gotta give us somebody who speaks their language.
Is that
right?
real talk, though?
I mean, but you're gonna see the odds are you're gonna send your kids to Ivy League schools from the time they're small, right? Okay, and when you go there, they communicate with the kids that they're around, and most of those kids are gonna be little white kids.
I think sometimes, like if I look at my daughter and I see that she's attracted to white guys, and I say to myself, I didn't set a good example as a black man then.
I don't think that's it. I think you did.
But that's just my mind goes. Like my mind goes like they must have seen me sometimes when I was vulnerable and said, hey, I don't want to be with no one like that. I don't want no one to talk to. Hey, scary. I don't want to be with somebody like that.
But do you think that they assert that much association with color?
That's smart.
With race, I should say.
Ooh, that's smarter than you think, yes. Because my son said that's why, I said I don't like, because I see how my sister act. Oh, I said, whoa, that blew my mind.
That's crazy.
I said, what? How do your sister act? Your sister's awesome.
Right.
I think it's the aggressiveness. I think it's confrontational stuff. They think I don't see that. I see black women. I see lust and stuff, and I think that I don't think about fighting with them. I don't think about their aggressive. I think that's even more so. It's just so weird that they think of confrontation. It's not going to be cool. I'm like, what the is wrong with you? You don't like her?
Right.
I don't understand the concept. I don't understand their vision, what they see, the illusion of beauty, or what do they see? That confused me with my kids. What do they see? How come they can't see what I see?
Because it's just like you said, the same way, the way you were brought up, and what you were brought up around, and what they brought up around. You know what I mean? I think that has a lot to do with it.
And I know I gotta go to typical. I'm not a racist. I just don't see that.
No, you ain't got to be seen as a racist like that.
I think. But they're strictly, I'm not going there. They know they're not going there.
Where?
They black. They know they're not going there. They just know they're not going.
I think as long as they happy though, Mike.
Yeah.
As long as they happy, bro. My mother-in-law she's a white lady, Miss Diane, and I love her to death. She loved me to death. My family's her family's my family. So we don't necessarily see the color now. Now this is just my family member.
They lived in your world. If they lived in your world, but I had never lived in these people's world. I worked to get to this world. My kids and them, they're born in this world. Right. In my world, I'm still in my mind, I'm different than them.
Well, you are. And I'm very different.
My grind was different than theirs.
This is true because a lot of theirs was already in the bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I think, if the most successful, let's say, take Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. You know what I'm saying? All these people, they achieved phenomenal things, did great business, and had just enormous strategy to their lives ending up where it is right now. But I say that I'm one of them. Now do that shit as a nigga. If you could have did the same thing you did, Steve Jobs, as a black man, I think that picture would be different. Same thing for Bill Gates. Same thing for Warren Buffett. Doing it as a black man is complete. There's so many avenues and obstacles that are created just because of the color of your skin. Really? As soon as you walk in the door, yeah.
Listen, I used to believe that, and I used to believe about the black stuff, and I come to believe. I believe that my consciousness supersedes my color.
I believe that as well.
I believe no matter what color I am, no matter who I was, I would be successful.
I believe that as well.
I just believe that's just what it is. I believe my color doesn't have nothing to do with it. I believe that in the beginning of life, and as I got conscious, I believe that I just believe that I'm as far superior than everything else around me, and I'm doing this and I'm succeeding because I'm better. That's the reason.
Well, let's just say I agree with you there, but let's take the times, right, where there were doors slammed in your face after people had written you off, called you crazy, and motherfucker were trying to get. I know it. And motherfucker. So in that moment, if you were a white man, do you think that same shit would have happened?
Depends on what white man I was.
Mike Tyson, at least you took responsibility for it. Yes, you and the child's mother or the children's mother who you're talking about are the reason why. You are right. You know, T.I. is trying to minimize it, trying to be, friendly, but Mike is right. Yes, it is his fault. It's your fault. This conversation was very watered down, Negro peeing, tap dance type conversation between these two black celebrities. But, Mike Tyson or any of these black athletes, mega stars, whoever it may be, most of the time, their only connection to being black was being a black athlete and the black community getting behind them and rooting for them because they're black. Athlete, sports, something that we're great at, something that the white man pays them a lot of money for and recognize them for. But outside of that, most black athletes are raceless, or they try to be until they get into a squabble with the police or something like that. You will never hear Mike Tyson. I don't know who followed the career of Mike Tyson. A lot of people never even seen him fight. He's that big of a star though, but if you ever listen to Mike Tyson, you'll never hear him say anything good about black people. Unless it's popular. Yeah, it's very popular to talk about the greatness of Muhammad Ali. White people even do that, but if Mike Tyson was around the time that you seen Muhammad Ali on these talk shows, like the one you seeing with Sly and them, Mike Tyson wouldn't have came around Muhammad Ali. He's not that type. Mike Tyson would never use his name, image, and likeness to address social issues that concern his people. Never. He don't do that. He does not open his mouth about that. Now, I don't know if he, gives some kind of donations to some black organizations that may be doing something. I don't know. Maybe he donate, money to the new Brownsville gym and that Shannon Briggs and them are getting done. I will hope that he did. I don't know. But publicly, Mike Tyson does not say any good things about black people unless it's a popular thing to say. And that's why his kids don't like black people. It's that simple. Yeah, Mike, it's your fault. Imagine this. You are the poster man, the epitome of strength, masculinity, toughness, all that around the world, Mike Tyson. And your daughter wants to date a man who looks more like a pedophile. That's who your daughter wants to be with. And you're Mike Tyson, the poster man for strength, masculinity, toughness, all that. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. This is crazy. That's what your daughter wants to be with. That's what she wants to date. But it's on Mike Tyson's mind. It don't sit right with him, and it shouldn't. And this conversation with T.I. and Mike, it's an example of the reason why I don't like celebrities to start talking about race, because if you're not going to be 100 about this serious topic, don't start talking at all. All the tap dancing and T.I. hopping in, how his wife's mom is white and we don't see color and all. Nobody didn't ask you that, T.I. Nobody asked you about your personal life. That's the problem with a lot of these Negroes. They always like to bring up their personal life as if that's the narrative when it comes to race. That don't have nothing to do with what he said or what the bottom line is here. Mike Tyson said he thinks it's his fault. He feels a way that his children, specifically his daughter, wants to be with a white man. Be a man. Tell him, yeah, Mike, you're right. It is your fault. Want to hear about your wife, mom is white and all that. Get out of here with that. That's what Negroes do all the time. Then T.I. comes with well, as long as they happy, Mike. No, that's not what it's about. No. People could do whatever they want to do with their life. You know what I'm saying? But life is not about just chasing happiness. That's why we have so many Satanists out here and weirdos willing to do anything just to be happy. Life is not about just chasing happiness. You know what I mean? Then we got people doing all kinds of nasty, weird stuff, saying, oh, it's all about love. It's, live young, wild, and free and all this other stuff. Oh, let me be a pedophile. I'm happy. Get out of here with this. That's white man thought. That's how white people think. They chase their desires. That's what you call a Satanist. Now, I'm not saying that every black person that's with a white person is I'm not saying that. But that mindset, oh, it's just all about being happy. Nope, that's a trap. Nope. One of the traits of the shaitan is just chasing happiness, desires. You know what I'm saying? All that evil stuff, then people, oh, well, I just want to be happy. Yo, it ain't all about being happy, yo. You got to draw some lines. You know what I'm saying? Then T.I. flips it back. He starts making some sense, talking about how many obstacles and doors may be closed and obstacles may be in front of a black person if we tried to do the same things like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates did or some of these other so-called white moguls. And he says, do you think that, they would have that success if they're black? Would a black person have that opportunity? Of course not. And look, whether T.I. or Mike Tyson or any black person who's watching, black people have already did 1,000 times more than Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, or any one of these other white people right in American history. Whether you know it or not, whether you taught it or not, black people have already way surpassed that. So that's the whole point. Basically, T.I. is making a point, but black people have already did that. But again, we've been blocked. They use violence, propaganda, stuff like that. That's a whole nother topic. But he's telling Mike Tyson, well, black people would get blocked. Then Mike comes with the whole Negro babbling. Oh, I used to think like that, but race is not going to stop me from being successful. I used to think that when I was young. Mike Tyson, nobody said that race or a white person would stop your success. Who said that? One thing that disgusts me about a lot of you Negroes is when black people start telling the truth, the bottom line, and making a point that makes sense with historical backing, undeniable truth, the person then switches to, well, race ain't going to stop me from doing anything. I don't give the white man that much power. Who said that? Whoever said a white man says no and you're just going to go sit down and cry? Black people have been in America for how many years, overcoming everything, building and creating things, doing things that nobody else in the history of the world has ever done behind enemy lines. Nobody said that white racism means that a black person won't be successful. Who said that? This is crazy. Nobody has thrived under racism more than black people in America. Be serious. These weaklings like to bring that up as an excuse. Oh, I'm going to be successful. Nobody said you couldn't be successful, Mike Tyson. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. Some of these Negroes are just best at flipping a conversation to tap dance away from saying anything that's a complete truth. This is why I don't like when these black celebrities who have a name and image and, people pay attention to them when they start talking about race. Because if you're going to tell a half truth, if you're going to tap dance, just keep your mouth shut. Don't say nothing, because you're really making it worse. You can go to any economist, you can go to the Department of Justice, Department of Education, Patent Office, whoever. The racial disparities are all there. It's true, and these bootlegs, they always flip a conversation to make a point, to get away from the hard truth. That's weak-minded, man. And, saying stuff like that for Mike Tyson, that's probably why your daughter loves Pell Men. It might not just be the fighting stuff that you're talking about. It could be the other stuff too. Stuff that you said, some of the stuff you doing, how a white man can make you put a bumblebee suit on and shake your hind parts. She sees that. How could a white man make Mike Tyson do that? A weasel make Mike Tyson do that. And then you got these Negroes out, oh, he getting a bag. Anybody that says that and looks at that and says he getting a bag, that means you would be a prostitute too. And you probably are a homo. A lot of black men that say that stuff, well, he is getting a bag though. That, to me, I feel like you may be a homo and you will let somebody do something to you for a little bit of money. You're the type of guys that do anything at work at the level that you can do it at where you're at because you're not a celebrity. You are a homosexual or a prostitute at your job. You don't want to go telling on everybody, accepting anything for a holiday party. You one of them weaklings. At least he getting a bag. Nah, it ain't about that. This is a man with a bumblebee suit on who has so-called millions of dollars, masculinity, and he's shaking his butt with a bumblebee suit on because a white man told him to do it. Maybe his daughter sees that. Maybe his daughter can see that he never addresses any social issues publicly that his people are dealing with. Who knows? It might not just be all about the fighting and violence like Mike Tyson said. What's wild about a lot of these black athletes and what I see, you even see this in regular life with, black men who may have been big time Division I athletes, football and stuff. What you see is a lot of times when these people, they can't use their testosterone, they can't use their fast twitch muscles to run, jump high, punch hard, bob and weave, do 360 dunks and all that. When we can't do that, if that's taken from us and put in another environment, you might as well be a eunuch, man. They might as well just castrate a lot of these Negroes, man. They are no more good. Once they can't use their strength and their athletic ability to get the job done, and they have to sit down and use their mind and stand on something, you might as well castrate them, yo. When it's time to deal with white, you might as well castrate them. Whenever they have to use their mind and their faith and their belief and their confidence and not their athletic ability, a lot of them just turn into straight popcorn shrimp. And that's what you see with a lot of these guys like Mike Tyson and these other big black athletes. You know what I'm saying? This convo right here with Mike and T.I., that's why I really hate to see celebrity black people talking about race. Because they start tap dancing and they don't tell the bottom line hardcore truth. It ain't about hate, it's about telling the truth. And if you ain't doing that, you really ain't doing nothing. You really ain't doing nothing, yo. But people, what do you think about this conversation? Get in the comments. Oh, don't forget, link in the description. My masterpiece, The N-Word is No Secret in the Service. Also, the link to the email list so that you know what the content is. If YouTube start doing their thing, you already know. Easy.